Hello and welcome to Speakeasy with Cheryl and Catina. I'm Cheryl,
And I'm Catina.
and tonight we have another one of our business highlights that we do. We try to do monthly, and tonight we have a good show in store for you. Uh, we have Kara Felicia Company, which is a spice company. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guest for this evening. Kara is the owner and CEO and resident foodie of Kara Felicia. Food is her love language and how she expresses her adoration for others. Whenever she makes a meal, be it for family or friends, her number one goal is for them to leave with full bellies, the remnants of joyful flavors on their tongues, and hearts full of happiness. Every spice blend and recipe that Kara creates is done so that you can experience delicious flavors over a wonderful meal and the ones you love. All right. I'm looking forward to speaking with her this evening. I looked at some of her on her website and I saw some of her recipes out there. I had my mouth watering.
Yeah.
uh, yes. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest. Hi, Kara. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good having you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Katina told me about your business, I was intrigued. And when I looked on your website and I saw the different recipes, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to try these. Yes.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a little of your backstory, how you got started.
Um, I've always loved food. Like, if you mention food in a phrase, if somebody says, "Hey, do you want to go somewhere?" and if food is in that phrase, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think I want to go. My family has always cooked. My dad was the main cook in our house growing up, so he was always experimenting, trying new things, and he was never afraid to, if it didn't work, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And my love of food really came from, was inspired from him because he just, made stuff that I enjoyed. I loved it. And then as I got old enough to be able to start doing things on my own, it was just very cathartic. It allowed me to be I'm a creative. So, having the ability to do whatever it is that I wanted to do and try out, I was able to do it in my kitchen, food, spices. And over time, I started mixing like blends. At any given time, you used to be able to find, the little small Ziploc baggies. You could open up my cabinet and there was like, you would think I was like a spice lord because there were like, little things of spices all over. And it's just like, I didn't like, at that time, I didn't write recipes down or like, what I was putting in it. But it was like, okay, this smells good. This tastes good. And I would just use it for whatever I was cooking that night. And that culminated into, I think it was like in 2018, let me, start putting recipes up and, because like I said, I enjoy cooking, putting recipes up. And then that moved into, what, I want to share the flavors that I create with other people because I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people are out there that don't enjoy, being in the kitchen. They don't enjoy cooking. But if I can, get a little spark, within them, they were like, oh, this tastes really good. Let me go make something with it. Then, it's just like, all right, that, it makes me feel like I've done a little bit of something for somebody, to bring a little bit of joy and happiness to a
Mm-hmm.
space where they just don't normally find it at. But so that turned into creating spice blends and then let me see with people, if people would, buy that. And they did. So, and I started it spices probably several months later, and then pandemic hit. So of course, people were at home, they had nowhere to go. So
Right.
they, they started, buying the spices in droves. So that's how all of that got started.
So you said you were in the kitchen with your father mainly. What
Mhm.
dish do you remember that you all created together that stuck with you?
My dad used to, and I cannot, my dad is has since passed. However, he used to make this dish. It's a layered dish. So it had Italian sausage, it had shrimp, it had fried potatoes, broccoli, I think one other thing, and it's just like you would cook. So like say you would do the Italian chicken. So you would do the Italian sausage, then you would cook the chicken in that. And this, you wouldn't clean it out. You would cook the chicken in that layer of, sauce,
Right.
the drippings.
The flavors from that, yeah.
Right. And then like the fried potatoes, and then you would take that water and steam the shrimp. And so the seasoning from the fried potatoes was on the shrimp and the broccoli. And when I say it was just, when he made this, we all, were in there deep, just eating away. And he made it a couple of times a year, but we always look forward to when he made that dish, because it's just, we talk about it, to this day. We haven't had it in like 10, 15 years. We still talk about it. Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do those layers to, be able to get what he created. So, yeah.
And I'm guessing he didn't write it down either when he did. I
don't know where it is.
Oh, man.
Because that era, the age, that era, grandma, they always were like a pinch of this or a little something of that. Like, what is that?
So the ancestors speak. Now I have other recipes of things that he wrote down. Like, I have one that it's a bread pudding. It's so good. It's it's a wispy bread pudding. It's delicious. And this one in particular, we cannot find where he wrote it down or where he got it from. So it's just, I'm winging it right now. I'm going to get it, but just winging it right
now. Do you have any dishes that you cook now that's like your specialty dish?
It's funny because I'll think about something that I want to create or want to do and give it a try. And I'll do it and execute it, like say, like making a honey mustard sauce for broiled salmon.
Okay.
And I did that one year and I haven't been able to replicate. It's always been good after, but that taste, people, family, oh mom, that was so good, but I can't get it after that because I never wrote it down, I'll do a great cream sauce with heavy cream or half and half. Got to have a lot, tons of butter. So there's a lot of different things that I can do, say hamburger helper type of one pot meals.
Right.
So rather than, having everything, the pasta separated, have your sauce over here, create your sauce and everything that's going to be in it, liquefy it a little bit. Cause I create my tomato sauces with tomato paste. So get that right balance with your meats or whatever you're going to put in there, your veggies, and then take the pasta, dump that in there, put the lid on and let it cook down. And it absorbs the flavor of the sauce. And just, what's for dinner? This is what is for dinner. So
right.
Enjoy and have fun.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I use tomato paste in my spaghetti. I love the taste of it.
It's something about it, right? You have like the canned sauces, you can use that when it's like you're like short on time, but when you have the time, like that paste, you scoop it out, put it in. That's where it's at.
I'm gonna have to write that down because I've always used the sauce.
It's easier because you can, you can like flavor it the way that you want to. You want like a brick load of garlic. Have at it. Mushrooms or whatever you want. Yeah. You can really, tune it to what you want.
So and then you just use the paste?
Huh?
I use both. I use both the sauce and the paste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just that the paste gives you a little bit more.
It thickens.
It thickens it, and it's like it's got its own like taste to it.
Yeah.
And you can control the sodium too.
Oh yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Got me learning today. All right.
So is that like your specialty as far as your spice blends is mainly like sauces and things like that?
No.
Or is it for a variety of dishes?
It's for a variety of things. You can intermix the blends together. Like say my mustard greens, it's yellow in color, beautiful color. And you can add that I've added to veggies. I've added it to make like a gourmet type of honey mustard sauce. salmon, collard greens. So you cook your collard
Mhm.
greens and like smoked turkey necks and add a little bit of that. And when I say the flavor, because my sister actually stumbled upon that and she called me up. She was like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Really?" So of course I went out and got some collard greens, and did it. And I was like,
Oh
so,
man.
chicken, veggies, fish, meats, anything you can think of. You could, we've tried it all, like oxtails,
Okay.
again, like pasta, different types of seafood. It works. I have I call it my dirty rice, shrimp and rice. So like the honey pepper and the red smoke.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, cook the shrimp in the honey pepper, like, let it sit and season up, and then, pan sear it, and then you got the dirty rice with the red smoke. Put those two together. It's delicious. It's delicious. Yeah.
So the recipes that you have on your website, are those some of the ones that you've tried and you've written them down?
Well, no, those recipes are when I started prior to, like, making my spice blends.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that was like, like showcasing, come follow me, and, I'll give you, that was like my, really the experimentation of just, I wonder what I can, create or do, or, what's going to taste, good. And a lot of that you see are things that I've done now since then. On my Instagram page, you'll see different things that I, have used, like the spice blends in and created.
Okay.
That I haven't really, like written recipes down, because again, it's just like you sprinkle and it's like, yeah, that's enough, So I'm trying to get better with actually writing down the recipes, because I really do want to go do a cookbook.
Okay.
That is in my on my vision board of something of things to do. So I know that I have to really sit down and quiet my brain to actually let me write this down, let me write that down, so that way I know going forward, I'll have a good amount of things to be able to utilize for the cookbook.
I like that idea.
Exciting. More to come. I like that.
Continue. You want to take the next?
So, just a little fun question. What are the like 3 kitchen tools that you can't do without?
I have to have an extremely sharp knife. It's a chef's knife, and I have to be able to, cut and bevel and, cut up my stuff. So I have to be able, like, like if I'm cleaning chicken or whatever, cut the fat off. I have to have a sharp knife. If I feel like I'm using a butter knife, I'm just like, I gotta leave. I can't do this anymore. It has to be a sharp knife. A really good I have a large stainless steel, like it's like a 5-quart with, like, the glass lid. If I can't leave the house with it, I'm staying with the house. I just like, so the sharp knife, a good pot. And what else? What would be my last thing? What would be my last thing? Oh my gosh. A good storage container.
Oh,
If I don't eat it all, I need to be able to store it and be able to come back to it.
Right.
yeah.
Right. That's a good one.
That's a good one. The storage is good too. I agree with the knife, because that does bother, especially when you're just trying to get in and just get it done, and you got to do the continuous, the back and forth. So I definitely get that.
Right.
Yeah, I know it is.
Now, was it always a dream of yours to start a business, or is it something that you just basically stumbled into?
No, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So even prior to this, when I in corporate America, like in my 20s, I think even before then, one of my friends said, "You always talked about wanting to be an author." And I don't remember, I used to write a lot, but I don't remember saying that out loud. I was like, huh. And then I am an esthetician in a previous life as well. So I've done like skincare businesses, and then, moved away from that, and then moved into, like, what my passion is, which is food, but entrepreneur at heart for sure.
Okay. So
you were kind of trying to find your niche, I guess, the thing that was passionate about.
Yeah. Because even with like being an esthetician and having my skincare company, I still had that creative outlet where I could, create the recipes, for the skincare and all that wonderful good stuff. So any place that I have an outlet, this is great. But food, whereas, I find myself planning in the kitchen a lot during the day. That's where I am. And I realize I don't want to always be in the kitchen, but somehow or another, I look up and I'm sitting in the kitchen. So, my happy place, I'll say my happy place.
Right.
Okay.
So, your kitchen, how is it? Do you have a gourmet kitchen? Did you pull out all the stops for your kitchen at the house?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. That is in the works. I know what I want to have. I want to have, like the farmhouse, recessed sink. I want to have the little spigot of water that's over the stove. I want to have, I don't think I want gas stove because I've seen too many things happen with gas stoves, but that big, 5-6 burner stove, the recessed refrigerator where you think it's like a cabinet. Oh no, I don't have it all. But it's here and it's going to come at some point in time.
Okay. That sounds amazing. That's like the ones you go. What's those stores like Home Sense,
IKEA? Oh no, well, Home Sense.
IKEA. Yeah, but they have those. Oh man, that is a dream.
Like you just want to stay there. It's like, do I have to leave?
Right.
So
I was in the store. I can stay overnight. I can stay here. Don't worry about
when
me.
you are in your regular kitchen, not your dream kitchen.
Yes.
Do you have any certain like rituals or like things that you do while you're cooking? Like some people, like when I cook, I usually listen to like my Audible books. Really low because I have children, but but are there any things that you do like listen to music like while you're in the kitchen?
Well, first I need to like clear out like any like dishes that may be in the sink, so that way I have I can just take what I've used and put it in the sink, so that way there's not stuff piling on top of each other, because that if I'm in that situation, it kind of makes me kind of like anxious. So I got to clear that out. I probably will have the TV on, not paying attention to it, but I have it like as my white noise.
Right.
And then also my phone is with me, because if I'm looking something up, like, what is that? And it's like, oh, try that. Or, if I'm like researching something specifically food related, that is something where I got the phone, got my white noise in the background. And then I'm just like diving in and just trying different flavors out and seeing, what may taste good. And it's like, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. And then it's just like, I have a good base to start from. And then that makes it, so much easier and more enjoyable for me in the kitchen.
Okay.
Who do you test your spices out on besides yourself? Everybody.
Everybody. I'll call, look, I got something, and they were like, oh yeah, just, I'll stop by, send it my way, or I'll drop things off. My kids, my 2 sons, my 9-year-old, who every meal, it's like his stomach is eating a hole through his back. It's like, okay, well, hey, let's try this. And then my teenager, who has come into this blossoming stage where he's just in the kitchen all the time cooking, like last night he asked me, can I make funnel cake? And I'm like, it's 11 o'clock. You got school. No. So I'm always trying stuff out, with them. And then my oldest son, like I said, he actually has been inspired to like create his own, little spices.
Oh, good.
So it's like, okay, rub it off.
I like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That makes me excited.
Now, how do you come up with the spices? How do you come up with the ideas for different spices that you want to try?
It depends. As weird as it sounds, I may sit somewhere and I smell something, and it's just like, and then it creates a flavor for me, and it's just like, I want this on a piece of food or something. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, what does it smell like? It smells like garlic, or it smells like something sweet, something savory. And then I start running through, my spices and seeing what I can, put together. And it's just like, this is a nice base for, it's like to add if I wanted to do basil, smoked paprika, crystallized honey. It really depends. And or I'll see something like a couple of words, and it's just like, wait a minute. I'll see a phrase for, 2 different words. And it's just like, I can create a spice blend with just those 2 words and those components. And, then that boils up. So it's a lot of different things that trigger for me the ability to start into creating a new blend.
Okay. That's decent.
Like that.
Yeah.
Now, do you try out? I know you said you want to do a cookbook. Do you try out, like, let's say, do you use like seafoods, and then you try to come up with different blends for specific seafoods, or do you come up with the spice itself, or do you try to match it with something, a food item?
So I'll create and then try them on different things. So if it's fish, if it's a chicken, a poultry, or a meat, if it's veggie. And funny enough, my blends work with a lot of all of the, if it's a protein, veggie, it works, either way. So that's the one thing, being able to create something that is multi-purpose and not specific for, just one particular item. So that way, you're in the kitchen. If you're kind of like stagnant or stuck on how to cook something,
right,
you can use it on everything.
That's a plus. That's definitely a plus. And that's a good thing to put on your marketing material.
Yes, it is.
So how did you come up with like the business aspect of it? Like, as far as the marketing, how did you get your name out there?
Well, having, done the skincare business, I had, a good grounding of the things that I needed to do. So with this business with Kara Felicia Co., it was, let me start with the groundwork with starting to just drop little hints and then create the audience, like build up my audience, and having and building that trust with them to say, you know what, her stuff looks kind of good, looks kind of tasty. And then, other people that have tried it will drop their things in and say, it's really good, things that she's done that I've tasted from her before, or recipes that, I've done. And building up that audience gave me time to the website, of course, the back end piece, and finding suppliers to order my my single spices, mixing that stuff, and then finding the containers that they're going to be in, doing the labeling, all of that stuff, I did in-house on my own, total way of, burning the candle at both ends, before, won't do that again. But, doing all of that allowed me to get to this space now, and just being, in the forefront and being a little bit more candid, as I know what I need to do now going forward, is being a little bit more candid. Life has happened, with COVID and everything else. So of course, you had to put some things down, and it's just like, now I'm in that space again where it's just like, I feel my creative juices going, and I just want to be back out there, be in the forefront, do more videos, interact with things with my audience, and keep building upon that and growing and getting bigger.
Okay.
Like it.
So you said with growing and being bigger, what is the dream? What is the ultimate thing? If we're living in, Kara gets everything she wants today, what are you doing, like, right now?
To backtrack a little, like during COVID, when everything happened and, people had nowhere to go, so they were just orders. And I was just like, oh, the next year I'm going to have, my warehouse, have my staff and everything. And then everybody went back outside. And this is like, oh, okay, maybe not next year, But it's always been in the forefront to have my own warehouse space, to have an area where we can actually do like testing like with, foods and recipes and stuff. And even being able to have people come in from the outside to come in and sit down for a meal, enjoy. I would love to have a little eatery of some sort. Not quite sure how big, nothing humongous, but a little eatery of some sort. Storefront, for people to come in and enjoy, smell the, the seasonings and aromas in the air, and just be able to experience that. And that's what I envision, because I'm always looking at warehouses that are on, the retail spaces. I'm always looking. It's like, okay, I can fit into that. I can fit here. Warehouse will be over there. Production back there. So I'm always thinking about that stuff. I've got things bookmarked, and that's where I see that space in the future. It's going to come in the future where it's its own separate entity, and it's doing its own thing. It's global. People can experience it all over. And just be able to enjoy, just good food.
And we get to watch you on Oprah.
From your lips to God's ears.
Right.
Remember I said that.
Send her some of your spice blends. You never know. Never know. Now, what are some of the other challenges that you faced since you started the business?
When I started it, I was a stay-at-home mom. And then since then, I've gone back into corporate America. Okay. So that balance between being a stay-at-home mom, I was able to, if I wanted to stay up all night, and toll away and try things out, whatever, I could do that. Now it's like, I need some sleep, I need sleep because I need to be able to get these kids off in the morning, do what I need to do, for work during the day, dinner afterwards. And also, I, was back in school. So it was so many different components that I had to kind of juggle. And life, again, life just happens at any given time. So you have to really prioritize your health in that, to make sure that you are doing what you need to do and being able to find time to be able to do what you need to do for your business, because it's not going to do anything if it's just sitting there. So you have to be able to find time to invest in that. Also, I found that if you don't try to do everything yourself, so if you can hand something off to somebody, if you can, financially do it, give it to somebody else for you to do, because having that workload, like accounting, give me some software. Hey, but if you're asking me to do it, nah, somebody else can do my taxes, because no. It's taxing, and that's stressful for me. So let somebody else do it. But it's just like, just finding that right balance, which isn't always easy as a parent, as a working mother, kids. It can be a lot, but you got to find that balance to be able to just say, hey, it can get done. It's going to get done in its own time. But we just got to see where everything fits.
And with that, you probably also need a good support system.
Yes. As well. That too. And thankfully enough, I have that, with my immediate family, mom, my kids are so supportive, my daughters, my core, girlfriends. And it's just like been amazing, because whereas, I was like, at one point in time, I had just, set everything down, because I was like, I need to be able to figure out what is in front of me, and, getting back into it. This is what I'm going to do. Like, say this area now is, has been remodeled, because this is a laundry room, but it's a huge laundry room. And I have like all of my, my, work stuff. I have my workstation, everything that's set up, where now it's a space where I enjoy being in. And it's not like upstairs where it used to be, like in my kitchen, where I had to do the spices and then clean up, do dinner, clean dinner up, and then do the spices. And it's just like, I don't like this, I don't like this at all. I don't need this no more, And but now I'm back in this space where I'm like just cooking and trying stuff out, and I just feel like myself again. I feel like myself again in that in this area of being able to enjoy you know, like, because one place I was like, what's for dinner? And I'm like, air and water, leaving me alone. I'm not cooking. But I'm back now where I want to cook, you know, and just, you know, be in that kitchen, you know, for a couple hours doing stuff. So back in my happy place.
And that's important if it's something, you know, you putting this much time and energy in, you want it to be something that you're passionate about.
Yes. Yeah. It has to be something that you're passionate, because if you're not passionate, or if you don't enjoy it,
right,
it's not going to be successful. It's not going to be the trueness of your energy into that, you know, because you can do it, not love it. And it's just like, I don't think I want, you know, whatever you're, you know, giving out, because your energy is a little, you know, I can see it in your face. You don't enjoy this. But when you can like, hey, here you go. And it's like, okay, this is good. This is good, you know. And that just goes back to me wanting to just not make people happy, but I want to see, you know, happiness within them. And if I can, you know, give that to them in food, and we can sit down and have a good talk, and you go, you know, you have that nostalgic feeling of, you know, you're nice and warm inside, you know, we've had a good, you know, chit chat, and you know, you go off, you know, home, and you're like, you know, have a good night's sleep. If I can help facilitate that, you know, I feel good. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
That's a good foot in the door too, because then that person will return for their support, you know, because of that connection. And that's what life is. It's all about connections. We make the small little sparks here and there.
Really.
I think
it's
so.
like true. If you can build that, when you build that trust, when you know, when you lock in with that trust, they will go with you where you go. You know,
that is true.
It's always about, that's like the foundation piece. Trust. Oh, well, you know, I think, you know, what they're doing is a good thing, and let me give it a try. You know, either I like it or I don't, but either I'm going to support in some way or another. You know, it's always about that trust.
Yeah, people love to eat too, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a good That's a good industry to be in for sure. And along with the trust is good customer service, because I know I've stuck with businesses just because I love that they put that extra the customer service, the smile on the face when you come in, and you know, just make you feel welcome. So it does go a long way, all of that.
It does.
And like you were saying, it's also important as far as the designated space, because that's with any industry that you're in, when you have, because like you said, when you're trying to turn over from cooking dinner for the family and then doing this, kind of takes it's the same with me when I had to turn over, when I was using a community room as my office. Yeah.
Because it would be like sometimes it's like having to clean up afterwards. I'm like, I'm gonna just order out. What do you want to eat? Because I'm not doing this. Right. But you know, like you said, you know, having that space that inspires you. It's just like,
it does.
This is, you know, okay, I feel good in here. You know, it lets me, you know, have the freedom to move around and do stuff. And you know, you got your thinking cap on, and you just like, you can move along. Whereas, you know, and then my kitchen was, you know, it's a starting point. So I will never knock the fact that, you know, that's why I started. You know, it just, you know, was these, you know, small little, you know, stuff that I used to do. Then it got bigger and bigger, you know, and bigger. Then I got bottles across, like, you know, the kitchen table and then the dining room table. And it's just like, there's nowhere for us to sit down and eat. And it's just like, it can't be in here anymore. So, you know, being able to move it into my, you know, into this space, my office space, you know, it was a win. It was a win for that.
I definitely can relate on that. And as far as like, and we've talked to several different business owners, and I used to actually interview business owners years ago. And one of the main things that they all had in common is when they talked about finding capital for their business. How has that been for you?
I'm my own capital. I've been my own capital, and money that I've gotten, you know, from the business, it's put back into the business. So I don't like draw a salary from this yet. I don't draw a salary from this yet.
Right.
But everything that I get, goes back into the business. Even, when I was, a stay-at-home mom with like no income, any money that I got that I could, I would, if it was like $100 to start, if I went, and got, these small little bottles of, just single spices, and let me just see what I can come up with.
Right.
And then did that. And then it was able to get a little bit bigger. That money went back into the business. Like during the pandemic, everything that I, made was, back into the business. And I, at the post office, like every day, dropping off, these bags of spices and orders to go out. And I've applied for grants, of course, for small businesses. Haven't gotten any of those again yet. But it's always, seeing what's out there. If, I can bootstrap for as long as I can with this on my own, because I don't want to create any debt, business debt, not yet, not till I'm able to support being able to pay off anything that, I may need it for, like, say, larger supply equipment or things of that nature, new computers, things like that.
Right.
But right now, for as long as I can, it will be, I'm funding my business.
Okay. And that's typical, I hear that.
It is.
Small businesses, so but you just have to be, because I noticed too that there's money out there, but you just have to know where to look as far as because I was looking at my local news the other day, and they had someone on there, and they were talking about that's what their actual business is. They give help to small businesses. And
it's like there's like grants, like Comcast has a small business grant. BGE, they've had grants for, which is like Baltimore Gas and Electric down here in Maryland. They've had grants, and I'm a part of different networks that will say, hey, these grants are up for, you have to apply by a certain time. So there's different ones, of course, and you really have to have a good backstory when applying for a grant, because they want to know your why, why is it that you do what you do? And, how many people are, working for your company. So there's a lot of information that goes into applying for these grants. You just really have to know your why and to be able to sell that. Okay. Because if they pick up on like, oh, this is a great story, then that can take you into the next stages of being a little bit closer to being able to get that grant money. If I can get grant money without having to do loan money, that is the route that I'm, working at to do. So that way, again, I'm not upside down in any type of debt.
That's smart. That's definitely smart. I don't blame you. Oh man. What do you know now that you wish you had known when you first started on your journey?
Let's see. It's a lot. And what we touched on before, don't try to do everything yourself. Doing starting out, and doing everything that you can. At some point in time, if you can turn it over to somebody else, let that be somebody else's headache.
Right.
Give it to them. Take it off of your plate, because that creates less stress for you. I would definitely secure, like, say, like reference, like, like the financial piece of my finances. Having that, implemented in place, at the very beginning. So that way I'm not coming behind the curveball where I have to catch up and figure out, like in paying taxes and things of that nature, because, they'll find you, with your taxes. So I don't want anybody seeking me out. So if I, whatever will be my next adventure, oh no, here you go. Here is your money, don't. I mean, that hasn't happened, but I've seen, businesses where, they came and, took stuff, and I was like, I don't want that, because things weren't in place. I want to put the financial piece in place, hand stuff off for sure. And do not burn yourself out, meaning, there's always been that mentality of, hustle. I hustle 24/7. No, we're not hustling 24/7, because you'll be dead in the grave, on the 23rd hour, that you didn't make it to the 24th. So no, give yourself time to breathe, get your sleep, eat, keep up your energy, because if you don't have any of that, then you can't focus and you'll be making mistakes
right
in your business, you know. So that's the one thing, you know, that hustle mentality, that's no, I used to be in that. Yeah, I gotta, you know, I used to stay up at all hours of the night, you know, go to sleep at 4, get up at 7, get the kids up. No, no more. No, because I'm
I've been
at a
there, so
certain,
yeah.
yeah, I'm at a certain age. It's like I want to go to sleep. I need a good nap. You know, we are not staying up, burning the burning, you know, at both ends. No.
And I still have to remind myself, even now, you know, don't, you know, I'm like, okay, I think I overextended myself, you know.
Yes. And, but I mean,
know,
it's good that you can recognize it though.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I know the signs now, yeah, because from doing it for so long.
Because your body, if you don't pay attention, your body will.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
And it will shut you down quick.
That's right.
Taking while it's there, yeah. And I always, it's funny you said about the taking your time and not overwhelming yourself, because that's all you really hear. Because I think it was even a phrase, dare I say, P. Diddy said it, but he said that while you're sleeping, someone else is like hustling, you know, and trying to replace you, type of thing. And that's probably where that constant, like, you
Steve
gotta,
Harvey says that too, that he can sleep, you know. Later.
But you know what? Also, it's like if you put things in place in such a way, you can sleep and things can get done.
Right.
You know, you have your, you know, you have a website, it's automated. You don't have to be awake to watch those orders come in.
Right.
You know, you can set parameters. Hey, you know, people place orders, let your audience know orders go out on Tuesday and Friday, you know, so that way you're not taking, you know, every single day you're going to the post office or whatever, or, you know, having them pick up. If you set those parameters in place, it can work for you. You know, you can get stuff done without just feeling so weighed down that you're just like, I need to take a break, you know, an extended break, and I'll come back when I come back. So that's and that's the one thing I would say also, in addition, is everything is not going to be perfect. You know, you have in your mind, it's like, you know, it's got to look like this, and it's, you know, it has to be able to do, you know, all of these different things, and I want to offer all these things over here. It's not going to be perfect. There's always a starting point, and you have to take steps to get to that point. But trying to overwhelm yourself, you know, at one time is going to cause you to just have a meltdown and just not be in a space to be able to enjoy what you're trying to create. So yeah, everything is never going to be perfect. Maybe close, it may be really, really great, but everything is not always going to be perfect, you know. And don't try to, it has to be this way, because you're be fighting, you know, you're beating a dead horse.
And that's important in any aspect of your life, really.
Yes, it is.
That is true. I don't know if this even goes in where we are, but I was so curious as to who your food chefs or cooking expert inspirations are out there, because there's a ton of them everywhere. Online, they're on like the cooking channels. Like, who are your go-tos?
Now the food. Okay, so the Food Network and HGTV were generally somewhere in there. But I remember, like, you know, growing up, Emeril Lagasse used to always be on, you know, my dad would have him, and, you know, on the TV and watching that. And, you know, when I was like really young, I can't remember her, Julia Child, you know, and seeing her cooking.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Like, it talks about my age, but seeing, you know, her cooking, and it was just like, oh, that, you know, looks so fun, and, you know, duck à l'orange, you know, all that good stuff. And getting older, earlier on, like maybe 10 years ago, the Food Network used to be really about cooking shows. So you had, you know, like Rachel Ray, you know, Rachel Ray. You had, I can't think of their names. Bobby, is it Bobby?
Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay. Yeah, Bobby Flay. You know, used to love watching
on there too at one point.
Were they on there? The Nailies? Yeah, they were.
Oh, and them. Oh, absolutely. I love them, you know, and then, you know, their show ended. And of course, also looking for chefs, you know, that look like us. Very hard, you know, to come by. So it was just like, well, I can't find anybody. So let me just, you know, enjoying doing my own. And like right now, the Food Network really is about like food competitions. It's not really about
I know that that's
cooking
changed.
shows.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's just like, well, I don't want to watch this, So I mean, it's fun, for what it is, but it's like I really enjoy watching these shows, like, cooking, but that's not really what you see on TV anymore. And then, of course, also again looking for people that look like us, people of color, chefs of color. Chef Carla Hall, I love her.
Oh yeah,
I love
I have her
Chef
book.
Carla.
Yeah,
Yeah, we my son got her book for Christmas. What was he was trying to make? What was it? I don't know. Was it biscuits? It was something. And my mom was like, "That's not how you do that." So she was like, let's find a book for you where you have a Black author, a Black chef that actually has made it. Is going to taste good."
right.
And that is a cookbook that, he got. So it's like, ooh, I like this, and going through the steps, like, this is what you add to it. It was sweet potato pie. It was sweet potato pie. That's what it was. He made sweet potato pie for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And he wanted to add something. And we were like, our ancestors don't add that. What are you doing? We don't do that. Stop. And my mom went out and got him a cookbook, and that was in there. And it was like, okay, so we have a base, to work from. Right. But it was like, don't. If you do that, I'm not eating that,
So. And you see now too that they're coming up with all kinds of stuff to add to sweet potato pie, like you're talking about. Because I was looking at a couple of people on Instagram actually around the holidays, and they were putting all kinds of stuff that I never would have thought to put in there.
They put like all of Thanksgiving together, like the macaroni and cheese, the collard greens, the sweet potato pie. The turkey was like, I think I've seen it in like an egg roll, which is not bad, but it was just like, that's dense. That's a lot, in the pocket of whatever it is.
Oh man. I was trying to think of the guy I used to look at. He's a Black guy, bald head.
Is it G. Garvin?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't. Garvey? Is it Garvey? Chef Gavin? Is it Gavin?
Gavin.
It's a G. It's something with a G.
Yeah, it is something with a G. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But I used to see them.
Yeah, when they used to cook, he was one of the ones that you saw.
Right.
In the network.
He was.
I haven't seen him in a while.
I had I think I got one of his collard green recipes.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I've been using it for years.
Okay.
For years. And it's not ancestral.
It's one of these new
it's not ancestral, but it's good.
But it's good.
It's good. But I've tweaked it over the years, to make it mom approved. And then once my mother was like, I love it, and my husband was like, this is amazing. I was like,
okay. Hey,
and that's what's important. As long as they loving the end result. So,
that's it. I'm good.
Now you were talking about sweet potato. Do you do any baking, or is it? Because I know that's usually separate or different from actually like doing cooking. Bakers sometimes don't actually make other things. Right. But do you also bake?
I do. It's just like, I guess in the pandemic, pre-pandemic, I created this recipe for brown butter chocolate chip cookies. And that is just like, I got my recipe on their side of the refrigerator. So when I feel, the desire that I need the cookies, I'm doing it, I cook more than I bake. I can bake. My daughter is the baker.
Okay.
She's, like cupcakes, cakes, name it, she does it. And they're so good. I've paid her. It's like, look, you can bring me like 2 dozen of these, I send the money,
Right.
I'll pick them up, whatever you bring. I don't care. Yes. She's the baker. She's the resident baker.
Okay. All right.
And I'm trying to get back into, because I used to, growing up, I used to try to, and when you were talking about biscuits, it made me remember about trying to biscuit recipe from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And those things were so hard.
It's not easy.
It is
It's
not
not
easy.
easy. No. No.
And I have not tried them since, but I'm gonna try those biscuits again.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like I remember when my grandmother was still alive. I just got into this thing. I was like, I just want to make biscuits. So I'm like, trying this, trying that. And my grandmother was a taste tester, and my grandmother, she would really be like, "That's a little flat. That's too dense." Like, okay, and I'm like, let me go back, So one night I made like 3 batches of different types of biscuits because I'm trying to, get that fluffy layer and everything. But my grandmother was telling it like it is. She'd be like, nah, she was just, perched back in her chair. Just like, that's no, don't do that.
And it seems like that would be like easy, but it's not.
It's not.
Breads and stuff are difficult.
It's a science to it. If you don't add enough baking soda or you don't add enough baking powder, the salt, it's just like, there's that, that scientific mix of, if you don't do things in the appropriate measures, you got the hockey pucks, you got the flat biscuits, you got, it's dense. It's like you can hurt somebody, and it's like, I'm not letting anybody eat this, you can try it, I don't want anybody talking about me, but like, what did she try? She's trying to kill me, so no, it's a science to it, and you really have to work at, creating, creating good stuff. You really do.
Right. And when I think about like our grandparents and great grandparents, how they could do all of it, and because I want to get into gardening, and my grandmother growing up, I used to have greens in the yard and tomatoes and all kinds of things, and I didn't used to be into it. Like when she was doing it, I should have had her teaching me, but I wasn't really into it then. But now I'm getting to where I want to have my own, especially with everything going on now. You want to be able to grow your own stuff.
You don't know what's in it,
right?
I'm good. Yes. I'm good. No, thank you.
Right. So that's my next goal to do that. Yeah. But
and as you get older, it's just like you just find enjoyment in other things, like gardening, having plants. I don't know if it's a prerequisite. Once you reach a certain point, but just like it's fun and it's enjoyable. You can watch things blossom that you've touched. Right. Your plants, your vegetables, basil and all that wonderful stuff. You just it's therapeutic and fun and enjoyable, and a good space. It's a happy place.
Yes. And I can just imagine, the thrill you get from making something with something that you grew, that you grew out of your own garden. Yes. Your own garden. Yeah.
One of my favorite herbs is Thai basil. Okay. And Thai basil tastes different than, the green basil that you purchase from the store. And it's like a sweetness to it, and it's like, a deep, rich aroma. And it's just like like honey pepper chicken. Done that, and like with that Thai basil, it's delicious. So many different things, like like chives. I made something the other day, and I went out and like cut the chives, off the plant because spring has sprung early. So I was like, oh, they're growing. Let me go cut them off. So I'm prepping now to have my seed starters to start. Like the plants that I wanted, the herbs that I want to grow, my tomato plants, and a few other things, so that way I can just step out, go get some cherry tomatoes for my salad that I want to eat.
Right.
But it's a good feeling when you can you don't have to go to the store.
Right.
You just open the door, pick, wash it off and just, use it in the kitchen.
Yeah, because I used to work with a Filipino lady, and she used to bring in some of the most amazing things from her garden that she used to just bring in for us at the job. And and it'd be so sweet and it just excellent. Just
it tastes different.
It is.
It has a different taste.
Yeah,
it does.
Fresh. It probably tastes like how it's supposed to taste because we're used to eating. it's it's so
right, right.
Do
Especially
you know how long?
in the last like 30 years, so much stuff is so processed and
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
I won't talk about things that I've learned because you wouldn't want to go get
no.
stuff.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no.
I'll leave it alone.
Oh
I'll leave it
no.
alone.
But you know what's so interesting to me is like when you go, and I haven't been over there yet, but that's my goal to go abroad. But over there, they don't have the processed stuff that we do here in the States.
Yes. A
They
lot
buy
of stuff
everything
that,
fresh. Yeah.
yeah, everything that a lot of things that we use in the US
Mm-hmm.
are not used over there because they banned it. And it's just like,
Yes.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that was an eye opener right there. Yeah. And we just consuming all this stuff, So
Right. It's like, am I going to make it to 80, with, eating in America, so as much as you can do your own,
mm-hmm.
I would love, if I had the space, I would have chickens. I really would,
Mm-hmm.
and, sorry for the vegetarians or whatever. I would have chickens,
Mm-hmm.
and just, if I had the space to be able to utilize, my own resources and creating stuff,
Right.
for our household, I would. But
Yeah.
you just, very different eating in the US as opposed to outside of the US and
Yes.
what's allowable in the food sources.
Yeah, that was eye opening. I think I was watching some documentary or something, and that's when and that's been some years ago now that I heard that. But yeah, I'm like,
documentaries will get you every time, and you be sitting
yes.
there like, oh my
God. Oh man.
So what were they banning in like over there as far as the processing goes?
A lot of the fructose, the high fructose stuff that we have in a lot of our stuff like the pops
dyes.
the dyes, they don't put that in their stuff.
Oh,
The high fructose corn syrup, I think that's what it is. They don't allow that over there, but it's in a lot of our products that we eat.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
And a lot of the preservatives, their process is completely different. Like here in the US, we take, the majority of us will take our eggs and put it in the refrigerator.
Right.
I can't remember what country it was, but they store their eggs in a basket on the counter. And it's just like, oh, what are we?
Right.
Yeah, that feel like that would go bad. I don't know, but
oh, the cow. It's like my grandmother would roll over in her grave if I had eggs.
Yes.
Her,
we are
not
like,
that you can't do it, but it's just like,
right. I mean, we're even skeptical to like, we got to get it home fast to get it.
Yes.
Get in the refrigerator, right?
Right. Now, the one thing I will say is, like, I guess in looking like at like people that do homesteading, you have your block of cheese, and if you leave it out, it's going to get furry in like a couple of days. They actually will take it, like say with is it Bonnie Bell cheese that's wrapped in that red wax that they'll wrap it in wax, and you can leave it out, and it won't go bad because it doesn't have the air hitting it to be able to promote the bacterial growth. So it's a lot of different things. I don't know that I would feel comfortable doing it, but it's just like, I don't know if I want to Russian roulette myself in the kitchen, because you have to be really, cognizant of what you're doing, what you're touching, and how to store stuff properly. I'd like to try fermenting, like foods like kimchi and stuff like that, but it has to be done in a certain way. So again, so many different ways to do things, and so many different cultures that do things in a certain way, and they've survived. So it's possible. It's just stepping outside of your comfort zone,
Right.
I'll give that a try,
Right. I was reading something not too long ago. I read some dystopian type books as well, and it was some kind of terrorist attack where everything shut down. So you basically were back to living like they lived back in 1800s.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't know what to do because they didn't know how to grow things. It was basically you didn't have any other creature comforts anymore. So it got you thinking. It got me thinking like, okay, how would most of us fare in a world like that? And that's why I was saying we need to learn how to garden again, grow our own stuff. Because you never know. You never know.
Right. You know, like if that you know, if the apocalypse happens, you know, like zombie apocalypse or whatever, I'm going to figure out a way to make cookies on my grill outside. It doesn't matter, you know, I'm making cookies. I'm making cookies. I will figure out a way. They may be smoky, you know, really rich in flavor, but I'm gonna figure out a way because.
But you think about it, it's not that far fetched though, because here in Michigan, it was Michigan, Ohio, and New York, where years ago, some transformer we thought it was a terrorist attack, where all our power went out. I think it was for a week, and it was on the hottest week. People were going to the ice house trying to get ice. It was terrible. But just imagine that longer than a week, it would have been, you know.
You'll find me on the deck making cookies on the grill.
And that's what people were doing, pulling out their grills, putting everything they could think of on the grill.
Yes. You know, it's like, you know, get a generator, you know, if you can, because you never know what, you know, may occur. You know, plug up the vitals with the fridge and the freezer. I need to charge my phone. You don't need a phone.
No.
Food, you know. The vital stuff plugged in. That's all that matters. You know? But yeah,
I need to be like one of these preppers where they have like a year's worth of stuff in their basement.
That's crazy. That's why, I mean, you look at it, you're like, that's crazy, but it's logical, you know, because
when you think about it, right.
Hurricane, you know, you're out, like, so you have no power for like, you know, a week, and you know, when you have no food and it's hot, people get angry. You know? So if I can be, you know, self-sufficient in this capacity, you know, and just wait and try to wait it out, you know, as much as possible. But yeah, food and heat make people do some crazy things.
Definitely. You kind of answered this, but I wanted to ask you before we wrap up, where do you see yourself and your business in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, definitely having grown exponentially, having staff members to be able to assist in the day-to-day, taking my business from my home into a space that is completely dedicated to that, having a space to be able to cook for people, possibly again, like, you know, having a small eatery of some sort, being on some cooking shows, you know, some like I know I talked trash about them, competition cooking shows. I wouldn't mind, you know, being on a competition cooking show, you know, you can win some good money, you know. So
yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You know, money, you know, be able to like to network with other people, because you never know what type of opportunities and doors can open when you put yourself, you know, out there. Right. Yes.
I love that. I love that vision. So, you know, manifest next
all
5
of it.
years.
I have to do a new vision board. So, because like, you know,
I was going to say that if you had one, if you had a vision board, and if those things were on there.
I made one last year. I have to look at it. Some things didn't need to be on there. Some things that need to be on there. But it would definitely be this, you know, the business space, also an area dedicated to my wellness and health and well-being. The same for my family and, you know, my kids, and just being able to just, you know, create a good space where stressors won't affect, you know, where, you know, it doesn't matter where we're at, stressors won't be like, you know, my world is ending. It's just like, right, you know, keeping my mental in a good place to be able to just live day to day, be healthy, you know, be happy. And those are the things that I would definitely put on my vision board, places outside of the US, you know, trips. So that is encompassing, you know, so it's a lot of different pieces, but business, family, self, and travel. And food.
Always food. That's right.
Yes.
Good eat.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Well, you definitely, like we were talking about this food stuff, got me like, but I still have to try some of the recipes that you have out there on your website? Because the one with the chicken and the shrimp and the rice, I really was looking at that. And then there was one with the salmon that I thought looked good as well.
That's good. I think, is that the one with the cream sauce? I think that
Yes.
was, I don't know if that was smoky Cajun cream sauce. It might be. That, yeah.
Smoky Cajun cream sauce.
Yes.
Wow.
That
sounds awesome.
Oh man. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try them, and then I'm gonna have to reach out to you, let you know how it.
Please do. Please do. If you want to talk food, call me. Call me.
Right. Anything else, Tina? Before we sign off.
No, I think we covered it all and then some.
Yes.
Certainly a pleasure.
Yes.
Again,
absolutely. Likewise.
Yes, I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me and thinking of for me to share this space with you guys.
Yeah,
very fun. Had a good time.
Problem. And much success to you and your business. And
thank you.
I hope it takes you everywhere you want it to go. So
yeah, thank you so much, ladies.
You're welcome. And I'm going to share this in the next couple of days so other people can see it as well. This broadcast. All right.
I'm gonna put it up. Thank you, ladies.
And you can also share it. I meant to tell you that too. You can share it as well from our Facebook and our Instagram pages and our YouTube.
Oh, I'm gonna be on the lookout.
All right.
All right.
All right. Have a great evening.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. Good night.
Night.